All right, good morning and welcome once again to our show. This is CrossFire. My name is Dakbo Banjo.
And I am Againde Shoma. Thank you for joining us.
All right, stay with us today as we take you through a very interesting, package of the show today. We will try as much as possible to provide feedback on some of the stories that we earlier spoke on. And we will also have a gentleman joining us in the studio to help facilitate and help throw more light on some of the happenings. We have a lot of stories. Thank God it's Friday, it's Feedback Friday on Crossfire, and we will just be doing our regular thing. Now, fight against corruption has improved Nigerian global reputation. Now, that one is coming from the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, saying the ongoing fight against corruption has made Nigeria more respectable among the committees of nations. Now, the President stated this yesterday at the public presentation of a book about the midterm scorecard on President Buhari's administration. He stated that the nation's creditworthiness was sound, noting that the country's first Eurobond offer was oversubscribed 4 times. Now, he assured that his administration will continue to address the recurring issues of herdsmen and farmers' clashes, kidnapping, and armed robberies. Senate to begins debate on 2018 budget on the 22nd of November 2017. Senate President Bukola Saraki says the debate on the 2018 appropriation bill will commence on Wednesday. Now, Dr. Saraki, who made the announcement during plenary yesterday, said the debate would be done over 2 legislative days. They want to break a record. Now, he urged his colleagues to indicate interest on the days they would want to make their contributions. He said copies of the budget will be made available to lawmakers before the debate commences. Now, we'll take more stories from Ishoma, as it were, and this one says Rivers State Governor reiterates call for restructuring and true federalism. Now, the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has reiterated the call for restructuring and true federalism. He made the call at the 6th Zenith Annual Lecture set aside to reflect on the legacy and political beliefs of Nigerian First President Nnamdi Azikiwe. Speaking on the problem and prospect of restructuring, Governor Wike called for an inclusive, equitable, and participatory economic system where everyone benefits from the proceeds of democracy. Very
instructive. Now to quick stories here. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees has said it has trained 11,000 internally displaced persons in Borno State on various trades. Now, the head of the sub-office, Mr. Caesar Sholombo, disclosed this in Maiduguri at the graduation of 800 trainees of the Skills Acquisition Program. He did say that the agency had initiated a comprehensive program designed to train displaced persons in 17 trades such as tailoring, agriculture, fishery, iron bending, and fabrication. Tapo.
All right, that's how far we will go on Story Make Edit Lines, and we will come back into the studio for more analysis on so many other stories as a build-up from yesterday. We'll be right back after now. Join us again. All right, thanks for staying with us. It's Crossfire with Dakwa and Ishoma. We went through a couple of stories making headlines, as we came live on the show. And we will definitely be doing as much as we can to bring you more stories as we go on. I don't want to stumble on, it is very unethical, to stumble on somebody's name. So if you don't know how to call it properly, then you better ask him to call him. We have a guest in the studio. It's an engineer. And so you wonder why an engineer is called to come and discuss current affairs. It simply shows his interest in this entity called Nigeria. It's no other person but Kingsley. It will tell us his other name so I don't kill it, and all of that. So Kingsley, welcome to CrossFire this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good
It's
morning.
always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Kingsley, teach us your surname.
Before I get to
No,
that,
permit me to do that.
To try.
Of course, I'll get it. I mean, his name
you will get
is
it,
Kingsley Nwabugu.
Well. On a scale of 10,
is his
say
name
7, 6.5.
6 over 10.
Wow.
As for you,
Yes.
I think you make a very good diplomat. You dodged the bullet. So you just set me up together. It's all right. It's fine. All right. So the name is Kingsley Nwabugu. Not Ugu. Not Ugo. Kingsley Nwabugu.
Good. I can't get it.
No,
Forget
so
it.
in Yoruba language, it would be like, you put all the ami, all of that.
Before you can get it right.
Let's just let that slide. Just stay with Kingsley, it's fine. It's not, and also, I get that to some of my Igbo brothers. They go Kingsley or Kingsley.
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 It's not Kingsley.
It's not Kingsley, it's Kingsley.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's on a very light note. This is what we try to do on Friday because people are unwinding. At the same time, it is a very serious business. It is a very serious show.
Yeah.
But, we cannot come and go and kill ourselves and die.
No, we can't. What to do?
Technically, Nigeria is so serious at the moment. People just need to take life easy.
This easy. So, with the number of deaths we've had in the last 24 hours,
it's really crazy. And so that's why we try to just take it cool while we discuss national matters. Somebody told me, he said, I almost had a heart attack when I started imagining what they are doing in the East. And I'm like, don't have an heart attack. You will just die for fun.
For fun.
For the fun of it.
The sad thing is stats don't shake us anymore. So you hear that in New York or say in some Western country, somebody drives a car through the crowd and maybe kills 3 people or something. And it makes, it's spread all over, it's splashed all over. But in Nigeria, okay, 5 people died. Somebody, another paper reports, 2 people. And we lose count. It doesn't, there's no shock. The shock factor is gone.
Does that mean we've lost our humanity?
That is my belief.
Maybe the way it is reported.
Thinking.
Maybe the way it is reported.
No, I am not thinking. Ever since the advent of Boko Haram in the northeastern part of Nigeria, to a very large extent, life is becoming nothing.
Are we going to put that blame on the political terrain? I mean,
there are lots of factors. There are lots of factors that contribute to it.
Politics be responsible?
But I would try to differentiate and say, on the broader scale, say when you come on platforms like this, or you're listening to the news, or you're watching the news, the shock factor is not there. But when you are out on the road and you see the way Nigerians respond to an accident, they realize that Nigerians still have that shock factor. They see that empathy.
Not 100%. Not 100%. Because a lot of times I have seen accidents, and then rather than people thinking about how to administer first aid and call the ambulance service, the first thing they're doing, they're taking pictures.
So one of the things
somebody's being molested, people are taking pictures.
One of the things I also do is safety. And I've come to realize that in Nigeria, the general perception or general attitude to safety is zero. So much so that the Lagos state government has to put physical barriers on the highway.
You must be an engineering student like me to be able to say safety is first.
True, but no. It doesn't have to be an engineer.
No,
I think it's about the love of life.
No,
you can love life.
In the profession, you are taught from 100 level to letting you know that it's safety first.
Safety first.
All the while. So it becomes a part of you.
True.
I don't know any other discipline that really emphasize safety
to be
as
fair,
first.
To be fair to that discipline, I think is crucial. Safety is much more broader than
But you know what?
Exactly.
But this is where we have a very big problem in the country, because it seems now that individuals only access certain basic informations because of the course they study, which should not be broader.
And that's why
National Orientation Agency need to educate
beyond the national beyond them. There is a wonderful platform called Google. It's free. Right?
But do you know what, gentlemen?
We don't love to read like that because you are educated.
You don't have to read.
You are talking like that.
No.
A mechanic is not going to go on Google to go and check.
If you're not going to do Google, you can do heroin. You understand? Let's be real.
No,
the idea is that you really want to have a conversation to learn.
Okay.
That's the basic thing. Sure. It's not really that you are stuck in that you are like what's it called? It's like a lake or something. I can't remember a water body that is landlocked.
Yes.
And you are stuck in that. You don't want to learn anything. Like the Dead Sea, nothing flows in, nothing flows out. You're just there. No. If you are in this time and age where even if you don't want to leverage on technology, which is the easiest way to learn these days, you can go ahead and just watch TV. Just watch TV.
No, that is where, now you took that away from me.
Yes.
No, I recall this movie. It's a recent movie, though. I mean, Baywatch, which The Rock, the famous actor The Rock, starred in. And recently, a 9-year-old boy saved his younger brother of about 2 years.
Yes.
Why? Because he used the technique which he saw in the movie Baywatch. Yeah. Now, this is a movie. Now, in Africa, we love entertainment. We love movies. We love music. But it's unfortunate that in this part of the world, the quality of the message we see in movies,
you're bringing me home.
It's not one that can equip you. We are seeing the wicked housewife trying to poison someone or do it.
Point of order. Point of order.
Blanket on everything. Point blanket on everything. Last one on that.
Yes.
It's not always. I think there's still a crop of Nollywood actors and directors who are producing great stories out there and that have some serious life-changing stories.
Safety stories to educate.
Yes, I know someone who's trying to set up a reality show that is to get together movie producers who will produce movies on social causes. You understand? So yes, it's there. They may not get all the publicity. I was at a show program yesterday, an NGO organized, where the children were asked to sing some songs, and you'll be shocked at the lyrics of those songs, and they knew the words. And the whole idea was to get them to understand what drug abuse was and all that. But these kids were already singing those songs and all that. So yes, you can use, anything can be used for good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. Kingsley, it doesn't really stop there. Do you know how many times we recite, that we make our children over time to recite the national anthem and the pledge?
No, yet
Nigerians still go out of their way to do something. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal and honest. But there's no honesty, there's no loyalty to this country. I'm telling you.
I bet you that you have said the grace. If you're a Christian, you have said the grace a lot more times than the national anthem.
Casey, let me tell you an experience I
matter is that the national anthem only happen, or the national pledge only seems to happen in school, on school grounds, and then after that people just forget. They don't do it in university. I don't think so. No university does that. So people after secondary school just...
We have a lot of people in universities who can't even
let me tell you what happened. Let me share an experience with you. Let me share an experience with you. I was on a journey and I got to, I can't remember now, but I think it's Gatwick. And, the immigration officer checked me and I was just about going in. And while he was trying to hand over my passport back to me, it dropped on the floor. And they have a platform where they sit in and then you are on the other side. Now, the moment it dropped, and I dropped my bag to quickly, attempt to catch it. He knew that it was not going to break. I mean, this is a paper. It's just going to drop and then you pick it up. While he was saying sorry, he saw my attitude about, the effort I made to grab my passport from, dropping on the floor. And you know what? She just told me, he said, you appear to me like the first person who is very loyal to the green passport.
Well, you can describe that as loyalty.
I
like that. You can describe that as loyalty. You can also describe it as, a lot of social skills we develop here.
Anyway, obviously you're just trying to play it down. Let's go into the business of the day. Let's go into the business of the day. Now, fight against corruption. There are so many things. Let me quickly give us a background. And if you're watching us right now, you're probably seeing us on DSTV channel 259, or you're watching us on our terrestrial platform. And this is Crossfire with Dapo and Ishoma. We have Kingsley.
Yeah, he does this myself.
Okay, yes, I got to spare me. We have Kingsley in the house, and we're just, it's Feedback Friday. We have a lot of stories, and we're just going to be taking comments on it to get you enlightened, informed, educated, and aware at the same time, just to know exactly what is happening. We're on the show yesterday, Kingsley, and we're talking about the visit of the president to the Southeast. Yes. Now, the Southeast have cried marginalization. I mean, I heard, the one that really touched me recently was the statement made by the Ohanes Ndigbo, saying, when Babashir Lawal was sacked and they brought in Boss. And it was saying that, again, the SGF got a replacement and it didn't come from the East, and all of that. That is surprising. It still further shows that the president's, body language and, and all of that is showing is no interest in the Southeast. But unfortunately, a few days after, he announced his visit, and
so
it was
like
he landed in Enugu. He was met by Enugu governor, and then they came all together, and then he went to Ebonyi, he launched the project, received 2 chieftaincy titles, and then it was at the grand finale of the APC to actually show support for Ngoye. The elections also is Saturday. Tomorrow in Anambra State, and a lot of things seems to be happening at the same time. Emeka Ojukwu eventually defected from Habga. His father's child brain or brainchild, whatever it is. His father's baby and all of that and stuff for the Igbo people, but crossed over to APC, the ruling party or the governing party, as it were. So many things happened within a very short time in the Southeast. And I'm beginning to wonder, like yesterday I was asking our guest on the show, is this timely or this is politically motivated?
You can't take away the politics from it. That's the reality of the matter. 2019 is around the corner, and everybody's adjusting. Everybody's realizing that, okay, I'm going to need the spread of votes from across the country to win this election. And so if there's any area that has screamed loudest in the past few months has been the Southeast. So why not just start from the Southeast and just, knock that off? Let's go and make all the noise. Technically just steal their thunder, as it were. So go there, visit Ebonyi State, which is a PDP state, visit Abga, an Abga state, and where your candidate is also running. So you visit a state that is not yours. That's the second state now. And you also use the opportunity to draw the crowd for an attention to your candidate. It's a very brilliant, it's a masterstroke politically, very brilliant move. I'm just on the lighter note surprised that I didn't visit Imo State, where you would have gotten a free statue. But since the governor is in the mood to give us statue, he should have.
Because there's another statue coming up very soon.
The Ghanaian president statue is coming up, and
it
seems to be the state of statues. So it's a policy direction for Imo
But then
State.
he did give an explanation on the reason. According to
foreign
him,
direct investment.
No, according to him, it's a way of marking history.
Apologizing.
Yes. So that children who
so he hasn't heard of something called
a lot of words.
Hold on. He hasn't sort of heard of something called keys to a city.
Well,
like you could go to a city and they give you the keys to a city. It's just figurative. You don't have to have a statue which will be in the face of the people for God knows how many years at their own expense.
Maybe he's he's very much interested in education.
But then look at
he's an educationist at the same time. So he wants a situation where Imo people will get to know. They get educated about African leaders and legends.
Good. Now let's separate both African leaders and African legends.
Yes.
Right. So the first on the list was Zuma. It's not exactly Mandela. Right? So we're not talking leaders. We're talking about legends here. Mandela is the legend, not Zuma. Let's not get it twisted. If you talk about Sirleaf, who is Liberia's president, outgoing president now, and you want to talk about how Ebola and all that. If you're looking for an Ebola story, then Dr. Dadevo is there. If you're looking for an Ebola story to teach the people, that's Dr. Dadevo. You can put up statues all over Imo State if you want. You understand? Then what the next person is Ghanaian president's statue is coming up. Sorry, what's the connection here?
Anyway, I think it's only him.
It's just him. No, he's the only one
that can explain.
It would have been a sad story if the Southeastern governors all caught that virus. So unfortunately, it's just him. That's fine. But back to the matter, the fact is that the president has decided to finally visit the Southeast after over 2 years in office. Normally, for me, it shouldn't be a big deal that Mr. President decides to visit any part of the country. He's the president of the country, for God's sake. So it's not news. But the reality of the matter is that we've had this issue that just won't go away with this president. The fact that he's perceived to be anti-Southeast. Perceived is the word, by a section of the country. And he's used this opportunity to go there and
because he made a statement in Anambra that it's for the collective benefit of the nation.
It's true, but it shouldn't. You could play the pessimist, you could play the optimistic. Play the pessimist and say, why do you have to wait till now?
Really,
you could play the optimist and say, oh, well, he's finally done it. Better late than never.
Yes.
But for me, beyond visiting, as much as I believe the visiting is good, I'd like to see a lot more traction in crucial projects that accrue to the
He
South.
already promised
Yes,
them.
promises are fine. We did promises pre-2015. We should be talking about this is what we have done.
But a lot seems to be happening. Maybe
There
not a
can
lot.
be a lot of-
Some things are happening for the Southeast, really and truly.
See.
The second Niger Bridge has been commissioned. Work is ongoing.
I am tired
it's a
of
major.
hearing. See,
It's major.
Listen,
No, but it is major.
It's like when you keep telling me about the 4th Mainland Bridge. I still remember watching Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu's
Nothing has
campaign
been done.
video.
You can't see anything.
Hold
You
on.
can't see anything
Campaign
about the 4th
video
Mainland Bridge.
When he talked in his second tenure, when he
Yes.
talked about how he was going to work on the 4th Mainland Bridge, and that's good. And then fashion
Government
the
is
same card.
continuum. Government is a
I have no
continuum.
issues with that.
Exactly.
But I'm tired of it being handed over as a pie to the Southeast.
Okay, no,
I
I
personally
need
think that
to-
the Southeastern governors should come together, and they've done that much more recently.
Yes, yes.
Beyond the federal government now. Let's leave the federal government out of this. The Southeastern governors also have a role to play in developing their region.
Okay.
Right now, they had their economic summit, I think, last week or this week.
Yes.
And that's good. It's something that should happen a lot more frequently.
Okay.
They should start to take the bull by the horns and start to develop their areas by themselves. You shouldn't wait for federal government always.
Okay, now
Yeah.
that would now lead me to the next issue as regards the statement by the Ohanese Indigbo. Now, if you look at the federal, in terms of our ministry, the Southeast is very crucial to the country for a lot of reasons, also economically. Now, the Minister for Trade and Investment is from the Southeast. The Minister for Science and Technology, which is another very strategic ministry, is from the Southeast.
Maybe it's even because of him he went
The
to
Ministry
Ebonyi,
of
Ebonyi.
Labour,
No,
the Minister of Labour.
I personally think it's because the Ebonyi State governor has
extend
Has
their
been
hands up.
eulogized.
He has been very
President,
smart,
yes,
smiling, and he's very
yes.
nice, Mr. President.
Mr. Kingsley.
And he has also said that he wants Mr. President to run for a second time.
Can I
Very
finish the
boldly,
question,
so
please?
that's okay.
So also, to that line, the Minister of Labour and Productivity is also from the Southeast. Minister of Foreign Affairs also is from the Southeast. Now, don't you think the Ohanese Indigbo are being a little bit frivolous in their demands or constant statement saying that the federal
We have
government...
more DGs of ministries
that the federal
come
government
from the
has
Southeast.
neglected the Southeast.
Well, I'm going to first of all say that I'm not the PR rep for the Ohanese, so that's their headache.
But this is overheating the politics
It's overheating the
anyways.
politics. But the thing of the matter is, and I think we're getting lost on one issue here. We're getting lost on people getting into positions as if they get into positions, they will now commit all the resources there to develop their regions. That shouldn't be what governance should be about. As much as I agree that you can always find competent people in only a particular section of the country, you understand? I believe that you can find competent people across Nigeria. Nigeria's strongest resource, in my opinion, is human resources.
The
You
governor
understand?
of Central Bank is from the
we
Southeast.
could go on with the list.
The
We could go on with the
the
list.
DG
But
yes,
of
well,
Stock
but
Exchange is in the South. Is from the
Fine and
Southeast.
good.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot, yes. But I lost my train of that on thought of that one. But back to it, I'll just say that I think the Southeastern people need to do a lot more for themselves. You understand? We need to do a lot more for
Ask
themselves.
their leaders
Ask your leaders a lot of questions.
The governors,
if, for instance, the governor of Anambra State hasn't had elections into local government councils for a year plus, you understand? And we have even the Imo State governor hasn't had for over 5 years, then the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you doing with that tier of government? You understand? Definitely the monies are coming in from the federal government.
So what's happening?
So what's the question? What's the holdup? If pensioners, do these appointments mean that you will now have all your pension issues solved in those states? Does it mean that your teachers will not be paid on time? Does it mean that infrastructure will be done or you get priority? We are still playing that politics of my person is there, so everything must.
But then the average man on the street is not educated enough on this issue.
Yes, and so
issues,
as much as I believe that, yes, you should spread the appointments across the country, which is good, and get everybody involved, you should also understand that my person being there does not necessarily mean that he's going to get all the resources for our collective to develop his own region.
Okay,
you understand? It's a country he's representing.
I think we've done justice to that. This show, we don't form opinions. We
just
only
try to put the information out there.
We don't conclude, but people are very, very, very. They have rights to their opinions.
True,
now,
true.
the scorecard seems to be showing that President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has done really very well.
Oh yeah.
Especially with emphasis on in the area of fight against corruption. The report that we have recently is showing that Nigeria is more respectable among the committees of nations. As a matter of fact, President Muhammadu Buhari is also of the opinion that when you consider the first Eurobond that Nigeria sold, and the Eurobond, you know, is just simply is an attempt to know how viable your economy is. What it does basically is that it gives opportunity for you to know if people can invest in your country, and it sold out. It sold out oversubscribed, like 4 times the expectation of government, which simply means that we're just not being fair the way we're examining.
No, I don't quite agree with that. Okay. Of course, I think I do not expect. I do not expect.
Okay, let's take your thoughts. Let's take your thoughts.
Yeah, it was a book launch.
Take a pause and let's take. We'll take your thoughts after this time out. Join us again. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Man may go and man may come, but the footprints of those who have left will ever remain indelible. Whatsoever is being committed into your hand, do it well, because there's always a reward, you know, on the other side. Now we have Kingsley in the studio with us, and we're talking about Nigeria. It's Feedback Friday on Crossfire, and normally on Friday we have a lot of stories, and all of that. Ishama started, you know, okay, we're talking about the scorecard.
Yeah, scorecard.
She made a statement, but we'll take your thoughts and then we'll go back to Ishama. The angle I'm not going to preempt you. Go ahead and just say.
First thing I will say is this was a book launch, you know, and the book was put together by the Ministry of Information, scorecard. So I didn't expect it to be, oh, we have laid eggs in this department and we have laid eggs in that department. I expect it to be a proper PR job, and they've done a proper PR job.
You think this is PR?
No, hold on. Hold on. PR is not essentially about lying. No, let's be fair. Let's be fair here.
Okay.
Sometimes it includes make-believe.
It's a mix, right? It's a mix.
Okay.
Now, and of course, it's also about perception, you know, because you can sit at the top and see things differently. But if you're on the street, you can also see things very differently.
Correct.
So, yes, you can say that you've made some progress. Our ease of doing business index, we've gone up that ranking, which is pretty good. Very true. That is true. Internationally accepted. Security-wise, I don't think we've improved in the perception, in the way we had it at the time before they came in. But we have also regressed in some other aspects.
I disagree with you.
Hold on, I'll come back.
Very serious, very strongly.
Even in that book, it also alludes to the fact that they're going to do more about the herdsmen clashes.
We keep doing more.
Hold on. Okay. You know, that's okay. That's again, we're talking pessimism and optimism. So cup is half full, cup is half empty. The reality of the matter is that pre-2015, were the herdsmen having such fun? The answer is no.
But then we had another monster.
They were having, stuff was happening, but were they having this much fun?
But then there was another monster bringing the Boko Haram.
Exactly. Now that monster has been tamed largely. You know, and they're still
not totally.
They're not totally. They've come back.
There's been a lot of reprisal.
No, hold on. They've come back to what they initially started with. So we've just come back to square one. That's that monster, the Boko Haram. Boko Haram monster has come back to square one. You understand? Which is that they are now into guerrilla warfare.
Every day.
And that is a
every day in Borno State now.
That is a big issue world over. It's not just a Nigerian issue. You understand? Even the Western world has to cope with people who are radicalized by ISIS via the internet, and they just get into their vehicles and drive into crowds. So yes, that is happening. You understand? So we can't exactly beat our chest and say, oh yes, we've successfully cleared this. No, we can't say that. But the real issue that the other one that is growing out of proportion, seemingly growing out of proportion, is the herdsmen one. And while I understand climate change is playing a major role in this, I have a big issue in the fact that we always seem to be reactive. So every single time, it started like a house on fire from the north, spreading down to the south, and then it got to a state in the south, in southwest here, that's Ekiti State, and they started their bulwark of a defense, which is having the state's anti-grazing law, and that bounced them back, and every state is doing that. But I find it surprising that many states haven't jumped onto that bandwagon yet. What are they waiting for? You know, you can't just sit back, and as we started the show with the lack of shock effect of people dying. So you just wake up one morning and say, oh, herdsmen attacked a place and they killed some people. And the governor is like, okay, so we are getting a team together, we are looking at. That you should be proactive.
Pray for the people.
It's a normal thing. Once they move from Benue, they're going to move to another state. It's a no-brainer. Because the cows have to eat something.
True.
Now, and it also helps us with the question, have this solution we have adopted, is it a holistic solution? So, because just having an anti-grazing law Is it just enough to bounce them? The reality of the matter is that these cows have to eat. That's the
now the truth. So let me quickly chip in here.
Yes.
In terms of, let's talk about security a little bit.
Yes.
With emphasis on the effort of the current government to help, ensure that the tension in terms of security is doused, across the country. It's very hot in the northeast. The southeast.
The southeast had its issues.
They had exactly.
The southwest also had its issues.
Python dance there and crocodile smiled and all of that.
Even the south.
Yes. Now, but my concern is this. Okay, a few weeks back, we had a knot. Somebody whose brain is just not correct, who went into a church and killed, people. You understand?
You mean?
And yesterday in Texas, in Texas, another one happened. Another one happened a few days ago. Another person, his aim was to go into that school and kill more people. He still killed.
The reality of the matter is that I think that's America's favorite poison. They just love it. So let's not try to dance around it.
This is when I'm
not going to repeal that Gun Act. So they're just going to work with it. They're going to live with it. They believe that more guns.
But let's look at Nigeria. The Wazobia church killing is still another mystery that has not been solved. And we've had this across the country also. But now, also as regards security, we know that security is on the exclusive, we're more likely tilting to the exclusive legislative list.
It is largely exclusive.
Largely exclusive. Yes. But then on the Land Use Act, dwells more on the state. Now, is it not so, well...
It disconnects.
It disconnects in this regard, now knowing that the anti-grazing law will not be sufficient, to curb the menace. But then on the other hand, security, the federal government also on the other hand will need to do something more decisive. But now states are saying no grazing.
Well, states are saying
this is to tell you that security should be a collective thing. Where you stop is where I start.
The reality of the matter is that security is, any country in the world, security is a collective thing.
Yeah.
You understand? It's just that in Nigeria, the system we have chosen to run has decided to make it very exclusive. You understand? And this is why I think states are trying to go around, instead of going through the constitutional amended way where you have to go for state policing and all that, they're going around full circle by having, like Lagos State has neighborhood corps, corps and all that. These
that we are not feeling at all.
Yes.
They are doing nothing. They're
having fun. They're having fun, and this is the truth. I've seen this one-on-one. They're having fun driving those vehicles around town.
That's it.
In motorcade fashion, feeling funky with themselves.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's all. That's all.
I've
never felt them in my neighborhood.
The only thing I felt is
when Bado came to my neighborhood, we took security into our hands. We were taking turns out. We were taking turns and we were doing 24/7 to protect ourselves.
The truth of the matter is states, and even Ekiti State adopted its own vigilante. Even before we got to the herdsmen issue, with the Boko Haram issue, northeastern states had also adopted the vigilante system. You understand?
To the CBN, JTF.
Exactly, CBN, JTF and all that, which is like a state's response. But then there's only so much you can do as against someone who's carrying some really sophisticated weaponry. You understand? Okay. And if someone is so on point, he's supposed to just be leading cattle, and he's so on point he can time his attacks. You understand? He can time his attacks so well that the security forces will not get him in time.
Exactly. They know exactly what they're doing.
Something is wrong with our structure.
No. They don't attack on the street where you probably have the perception that security guys are maybe somewhere very close. They do it right from inside.
You've also had reports of security organization and reports. I said reports now that somehow they just seem to not be there, conveniently not be there where these guys are doing their thing. So you start to ask, how is this possible?
But Nigeria has a major security deficit. Nigeria is largely under-policed.
Yes.
Now, in advanced climes, of course, just a few weeks ago, Brazil had some issues about cattle rustling. It happens even in the United States.
Now, playing the devil's advocate.
Hold on.
Does that mean if we are well-policed, crime will stop?
Let me finish that question, please.
Is that what we're saying?
No, let me finish, please. Now, all over the world, this happens. So it's not a new thing to Nigeria. However, they try as much as possible to use technology
to combat.
And how do they do it? You have chips. You also have microchips inserted into the cow. So even if they're stolen, even if they wander off, you can always speak. Now, the issue is, even if the federal government, I'm talking about the chief of army staff, or they're not speaking, the Minister for Science and Technology should right now, or well, Ministry for Science and Technology
unfortunately,
should be speaking, should be enlightening the people.
It's very profound.
He should be educating.
There's no technology that you can
do.
introduce that is not going to run on energy.
Hold on,
we don't have power in Nigeria.
This is a microchip. We're going to insert it into the cattle.
CCTV.
But you're going to insert this into the cattle.
It's okay. We have allowed Casey to take over as the anchor.
We've talked. The truth of the matter is, I like the chip thing. It's really good.
Exactly.
But no, let's start with the basics, right? They don't have cattle running around the whole area in Western climes. They don't have cattle running into people's farmlands.
It's only rustling.
You understand?
They tackle.
Yeah, so you are rustling what is in one place.
Yes.
But
so
no,
you are rustling, you come and attack Iran.
It's very, very different from ours.
But do you know what? That
style is different
necessitated
from
the
ours.
herdsmen having to carry sophisticated weapons.
I have no issues with that.
Now, let's look at this now. Now, the states have come out. If all 36 states come out and say we have anti-grazing law.
All 36 states won't do it because I'm sure
we know,
not
yeah,
the
of
states
course.
won't do that.
But at least in the time being, anti-grazing law,
yes.
and now you also have the technology inserted into your cattle.
Yes.
And the federal government comes to say there is a ban on having to carry weapons. You carry a weapon down to a knife, you will be prosecuted. Don't you think at least in the interim?
Leaving them defenseless.
Yeah, but then in
I
the
understand the feeling. I understand the feeling. But I would rather that the state northern governors, just as the southeastern governors, awoke from their slumber on the IPOB issue and finally having conversations with themselves and how to progress the region. The northern governors need to also do a lot more as regards to herdsmen issue. This is something that's very peculiar. This is something very peculiar. This is something that's very traditional to the northern part of Nigeria.
Hold on, I disagree.
Hold on.
Okay,
here's what I'm
loud
going to. What I mean is, if you were to do a head count of herdsmen,
yes,
you definitely will find most of northern.
Correct.
It's something that is traditional.
But then who owns the cattle? It's not limited only.
It's not limited. It's like a shareholding.
Yes,
thing.
exactly. And then another one is that the grazing, as they progress, they are going to the southwest to sell.
Yes.
But they feed them all along. So the north is not even the northern farmers or families who are settled in farms are not being killed. Do you understand? Because the cows don't go there to graze.
Because where your treasure is, there your heart will be. The cows are with the herdsmen, and so the herdsmen will most likely kill anybody who tries to touch
and they are quite nomadic, so they walk away from the north.
They're nomadic because it is their way of life.
Yes.
That's why I was saying, I was talking about tribal influences. I was talking about this is something that is them. This is the way they've done business from some time ago. So now how do we change this? That's why I want the northern governors, because I won't expect a southern governor to speak to somebody who's been nomadic, who has not been nomadic all his life, to speak to someone who's nomadic all his life about having to ranch. I would expect a northern governor who understands this from a tribal perspective to be able to have that conversation with the herdsman and say, okay, I know that you are holding this thing in lieu for other people. You are just the herdsman. You know, other people are putting money. So let's get all those people who are putting money into this cattle that you are.
The stakeholders.
Let them all come together. We can give them property if need be in the north. We can set up ranches. This is a land mine. This is a gold mine. For the north. In my opinion, this is an opportunity for the north for them to step up to the plate and make a lot of money. Because whether we like it or not, the south will eat cattle, whether they like it or not. You understand? So how do we make this issue, largely go away? Because even as you mentioned in Western
do you know, information have it that the bulk of the meat that we actually eat in Lagos is actually not bought particularly from the Fulani guys or the herdsmen who walk through the south, the southwest, exactly, and all of that, all the way to probably Ogun State or your state and the likes of them. The meat, one of the biggest retail outfits in Nigeria today, that they sell to us and we go there to buy. And for those people who actually patronize abattoirs, it's in Lagos State. It's in Ogun State in Ikene, where the vice president is from.
Well, it is what it is. But the truth.
Do you understand where the vice president is from? And they bring them, they go and load them in trailers to bring them there.
The reality of the matter is that whether Lagos State eats that meat or not, somebody will eat the meat.
Oh, of course.
And if it wasn't profitable, if it wasn't an interesting line of business, people wouldn't trust somebody you will not see for months on end with your investment in form of cattle. That is the reality of the matter. So how do we assure that everybody comes out to a large extent equally unhappy, not equally happy.
So the
equally
stakeholders
unhappy.
are the
So
ones
the stakeholders
harming
should have this conversation.
They are the ones harming the guys.
Exactly.
To protect
have
their
this thing.
investment.
Exactly.
Then
You
we have a very
send them
major
out there and say,
problem in
okay,
our
you know
lives.
what? I don't care how you feed the cattle, just feed the cattle. And these guys look at the cattle, they have a very close relationship with this cattle. You can't take that away from them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's their livelihood. It's their job.
They
You mentioned
understand
something
the
about the job
language
when we came back on this
of the
sec.
cattle.
It is their job. So when they come and they have to take it very personal. So yes, they see green and they see sand. They said, even if the cattle wants to eat sand, they will force the cattle to eat green. So now it's a battle of resources, especially also pushed by climate change. You understand? So how do we make this work? I want the northern leaders to step up a lot more to the plate. You understand? Have ranches. If the southern part of Nigeria will not give you ranches or will not key into this idea, then go ahead and do it for yourself.
Now, also, there's also the other issue now, because this is not just about the northern leaders alone.
Yes.
We have most of these cattle also coming in from our neighboring African countries. Talking about countries like Senegal, Niger, and the rest of those, which are
cattle.
battling a lot of climate change issues. Now,
because
at
they are
what
nomadic. We
point,
talked about them in the budget.
should ECOWAS step in here?
ECOWAS is just like the EU, which is premised on, open borders and all that. So that's really something ECOWAS can step up to the plate and say, okay, what I'm trying to say in reality is that it might be against the ethos of ECOWAS for them to now say, okay, we don't want herdsmen.
But this is a security challenge.
But it is not a security challenge.
Okay.
So what the countries now have to have a better, a robust conversation. If you are going from point A to B, you cannot be going on foot.
And you cannot be going with weapons.
You understand? So every country have your own sort of ranching system you want to do. And then if you want to move cattle from Ghana to Nigeria, it's going to move through trucks.
Okay.
Or you understand?
Or the rail.
But it
Or
must,
the rail.
but it must end up in a ranch.
Okay.
It must end up in a ranch.
Well
You must
said.
go from ranch A to ranch B.
To ranch B.
There has to be that firmer handshake across.
Okay.
All right,
West African coast, all of that, yes.
awesome conversation. Senate begins debate on 2018 budget next week.
Yes, we're glad. I'm glad about that because
Do you see?
Hold on, the last time Mr. President went and made such a wonderful and grand presentation to the Senate, the budget got missing. So I'm glad that they're starting the conversation, not that the budget is getting missing.
No. And they are ready. And they are ready to do it in 2 days.
That worries me. That worries me a lot. It worries me.
But why?
It worries me not because when I was here last time, I talked about multitasking. Yes, I talked about them. I mean, it's not a sin if we have our budget passed by January 1st. It's not a sin at all. So yes, for the amount of money they earn, they should be able to sit back, do their job as well as do oversight
Shawa
function.
doesn't believe that. They have to go on break.
Okay.
They have to go on Christmas break.
No, hold on.
They have to take that.
That's fine. I
don't know why you're putting this on me.
That has to go on break. But that also has to anchor CrossFire.
Very true.
You understand what I'm saying?
Because I don't go on break. They are like Jesse. They are like Jesse.
No, calm down. So the thing is, you can multitask. It's not just the senator who does it. He has a myriad, he has a plethora of...
They have committees. They have committees
and all that. And for the life of me, there's technology.
Which is just too
There's
much.
technology you can use. I mean, there's GoToMeeting, you can go online platforms and you don't have to meet face-to-face and all of that. This is 2017.
They are talking about an ideal situation. That's not what we have here.
But no,
that is not what we have here.
I agree with you.
Build institutions.
I agree with you. So let's come down to it. So
institutions.
now they've started this thing, and my worry with them having to listen to this as fast as possible is that I want them to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because I find that you're going to make a lot of concessions, especially as we go into the electoral period, right? So you know that if I look through this thing, I will find loopholes. So just let me just fast track it for our collective good, which is you're hiding personal goods.
How do you?
You're hiding
I don't
personal
understand.
You're hiding
your
personal goods.
sarcasm. You can't even.
I'm just saying the truth.
No, you can't even hide your sarcasm.
The big issue we have, we've always had, is with constituency.
So it's going to be passed anyway because, I mean, put anything you want to put. It's for a collective interest in 2018. Being an election year.
It's an election year. Let's just get this done. And besides that, it makes all of us look pretty when we are passing the budget by January 1st.
Something they can campaign about.
You understand? We passed the budget, in recent history.
Conspiracy theory.
It's a very beautiful one. But it's a conspiracy theory. But the reality of the matter, and I say reality because, well, they have decided, they've come on the news to say that they want to go through this in 2 days.
But this may not be healthy, 100% for
Let's probably give them 1 week.
That's why I say I have worries with it.
What is collective for me is the beauty of the government having a yearly, a yearly budgeting, a budgeting year that starts in January and ends in December.
It's not rocket science. Yes, it's not impossible. So it's that's why I said hiding personal interest behind public interest. And it's not just in Nigeria, all over the world over. It's what happens. There's almost no gap between public and private interest.
Okay,
you understand?
we run out of time. I take your opinion. I take your opinion, and I seemingly want to agree with you.
Seemingly,
because I mean, the politics is louder from this moment onward.
But
most likely,
was also just one quick now.
Than focus on governance.
There's a better handshake now between the National Assembly and the President, the Executive.
Now that was a question we treated last week.
That is good.
You see
I like that. I like that because it's for our good. We shouldn't sit back and wish them that they always quarrel as much as they are quarreling.
And you don't think it's for their interest? You don't think this is for their interest? All of them want to come back to the Senate anyway.
Most likely.
And the president probably want to return anyway. APC still want to be in power anyway.
The president has blatantly told us that he's going to have more ministers. He's telling us 2 years almost gone now that he wants to have more ministers. He's telling us that he's going to appoint boards now. Yes. You understand? I mean,
okay. Let's take this last story. Let's take this last story. We really don't have. We really don't have time.
It's not hard to figure out.
Where exactly are you from, Kingsley?
I'm from Abia State.
Okay. What do you see play out in Anambra State tomorrow?
Anambra State. The reality of the matter is that I think the incumbent will win. Not because why? Because of what
power of incumbency. Just power of incumbency
and all the drama that comes with being the executive governor of the state.
Don't you think every time you talk about power of incumbency, you're actually talking about a very mass rigging? What if there is an emergence of deviation?
There is mass rigging.
Yes.
I mean, there's, we're not saying
and there could be a deviation. And there could be a deviation. There could be a change of mind.
Or there could be a shift.
Exactly.
For instance, one of the candidates is doing something I really love. His approach to the elections has really gotten me. That's Chidoka. Chidoka's approach, beyond answering the questions and all that, from UPP, he's put it together. And I really like that. The other person that surprised me is Obaze. That's the PDP candidate. He has so far shown some good understanding of the issues. You understand?
No. So, for me, I think it came with a lot of eloquence of speech and fantastic, grammar.
Who were you talking about, Chidoka or
Obaze?
Obaze. Well,
yes.
Obaze.
It's very eloquent.
I'm sorry, but isn't that...
Anyway, words in the United States win elections.
Beyond
that, you can talk
beyond that, isn't that a departure from our norm? So we don't even have debates. So let's even be happy that we had debates.
Talkers actually win elections in the United States.
Largely, yes.
Well,
there's no guarantee. There is no guarantee.
So somebody coming to tell me that because he spoke well, he cannot win elections?
Dapo, I'm sorry. This is the only way I can assess what he most likely will do. I can't see the future. There's no guarantee he's going to get in there and do what he said he would do.
Okay.
But the least I can do is
you give your vote.
But if I were to vote in Anambra State elections, no, I'll give it to Chidoka.
So Chidoka?
Yes, Chidoka.
Okay, but you see Willie Obiano return?
I see Willie Obiano win, yes.
All right, this is how far we can go on the show today.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.